I'm Connor Hume and I'm from Peel in the Isle of Man.
And I'm Christian Moran and I'm from Peel in the Isle of Man as well. It's difficult to be an individual sometimes on the island because it's sort of, there's certain groups, and if you're a different kind of person, it's, I think it's easier over here to say, get bullied. I never suffered from it myself, but seen a lot of it through things.
If you're from the island, say you're going over to England to visit or something, you notice a difference, more variety. So there's more room for people over there to be individuals, I think. I think over here you have to be quite a strong character to be your own person. Which I feel I probably am.
Hi, I'm the Reverend Canon Clive Burgess. I'm rector of Onchan, a parish just on the outsides of Douglas on the Isle of Man. I think the island is being an island, we're very insular in the sense that we're like a rural community, but we face all the problems of being a small island, a population of just over 80,000 people in the middle of the Irish Sea. So there are different ways of looking at things, and ministry is very different here on the island.
My name's Jill Smith, and I live in Colby. I've always lived in Colby. I was born in Colby, brought up in Colby, and apart from going away to train as a teacher and teach for a couple of years in England, I then came back to live in Colby, and my husband Phil and I have been married for 41 years, and in most of that time we've lived in Colby.
And my name's Phil Smith, and I'm lucky enough to be married to Jill. I'm from the north of England. I'm a Mancunian by birth, but was fortunate enough to come to the Isle of Man first of all on holiday, which is where I met my wife originally, and then to work at the local hospital, and following that subsequently got a job in general practice in this area, and we were lucky enough to come back to my wife's place of birth to live, and have had a lovely time ever since.
For a number of years I'd felt that ministry, my next move would be to the Isle of Man, and within ministry there is a sense of vocation and calling to where God wants us to be and have a presence. And I was very fortunate enough to be approached to be interviewed for the job here in Onchan, and after a lengthy interview process I was appointed as the vicar and now rector of this parish here on the island.
Going to school since primary school, but I think we first properly became mates probably some point in high school. I remember we were having a PE lesson, and it was gymnastics, and we were both enjoying it. We were on about the hobby we were into back then, free running, and met up, free run, and friendship just kind of took off from there, I guess.
Partners in crime.
That's it,
But I think the thing that probably was different was that life was a fair bit simpler, wasn't it?
And Port Erin was absolutely packed in those days, wasn't it? With holiday makers, down the beach, in the swimming pool, taking rowing boats out on the
Well, the big
the
thing
bay
that happened medically was that we couldn't take our holidays in the summertime because general practice was so busy in the months of June, July and August.
Yeah.
Because as well as our ordinary patients, we had all the temporary resident patients, so effectively practice numbers had doubled, so we just couldn't go away on holiday at that time.
No.
So for our first few years, I think we were probably too poverty stricken anyway to have holidays, but we couldn't go away at that time. So life was really quite different because the island was very different in those days.
Ministry and the expectations on clergy on the island is far greater than it is in the UK. But also I think there's been more opportunities for me in ministry working within the wider church of the Diocese of Soda and Man here on the island.
Yeah.
I think do most things the same. I think sometimes in the UK it's easier to do certain things than here. Everyone seems, well, especially from the town you live in, everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, there's a lot of that community, sort of everyone.
Yeah, if you embarrass yourself on the island or get a reputation, it's hard to shake.
Yeah, someone knows about it before you know about it, the likelihood is. It's that sort of thing.
It's a much slower pace of life here, I think. I think we're all sort of living about 30 years before people in England. You know, we're still in the 1990s, basically, aren't we? Not in the 1980s.
I'm still in the 1950s, sweetheart, but never mind about that.
I think a big one is, in terms of trying to get a relationship, is a big one. I think.
Oh yeah, God. Yeah.
Most. And it'll sound strange to anyone living in the UK, but every girl you seem to meet over here has mutual friends, and you just seem to. They know your ex or their friends.
Yeah, you can't really have. Yeah, there's always something awkward there. You'll end up in the same social circle as your ex.
If you gain a reputation with women over here, you'd be a single man.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's easy to gain a reputation as well, so you've got to be quite well behaved in that department.
The principal core things like working in schools with school assemblies or having schools into church or working with young people or taking funerals, baptisms and weddings, the core part of our ministry and being shepherds for God is the same.
Oh, let's run away and not know where we are going to. Let's go far today and it's all gonna be wonderful. Oh.